All right, everybody, welcome to today's session. We are getting straight to it. And this session is very particular today. And I want to start by saying that if you have never desired to be an industry captain or to be a very influential professional in the work that you do, then I don't think that today's session is for you. This session is for people that are looking for more. They want to be disruptors. They want to be practical leaders in their various industries. They want to become people I call industry captains, or what others call thought leaders with results. And it takes certain things to become an industry captain. So today's session, we're looking at becoming a thriving industry captain, the imperative element, which we are going to focus on decisive thinking and action. There is a framework, there is a process that you need to go through in the work that you do that will qualify you to become a thriving industry captain. From technology to entertainment, to agriculture, to healthcare, to education, to engineering, to civil engineering, whatever you can think of, whatever field that you are in, you can become an industry captain who creates impact, of course, make the money. I've never seen an industry captain who is broke or who is poor. So what can you do as a professional or as an entrepreneur to become a thriving industry captain that will go places, not only in the short term, but also in the long term? Leaders know who they are. Potential industry captains know who they are. They know what they believe in, and they think for themselves. So we're going to use the law of independence as broken down by Brian Tracy to see how you can use all of these to become a thriving industry captain. But I want you to understand that for you to become an industry captain, for you to become a thriving entrepreneur who is running a disruptive institution in any industry, or for you to become a corporate professional who will grow to become an industry titan, you need to first of all know who you are. You need to first of all know what you believe in as far as that career or business is concerned. And most importantly, you need to know how to think for yourself. Leaders and industry captains tend to be independent in their thinking. And that's why we're looking at decisive thinking and action as a core element for becoming an industry captain. Industry captains are very clear about their values, they are very clear about their goals and their personal missions. It is difficult for you to become an industry captain if you do not have very clear personal values, if you don't have very clear career values. If you run a business, you do not have very clear business values. It will be very difficult for you to become an industry captain, because you must be driven to even walk uncharted territories, to independently think and take actions, to venture into areas others are afraid to venture into uncertain areas, to try new things so you can disrupt old ways of doing things. That is why it is important that for you to succeed as a top industry player, you need to first of all have values that drives you as a person. You need to have your own goals. You don't copy goals from other people. You need to be an independent thinker who is decisive, and you have independent goals. You need to have a personal mission. A personal mission. You are not doing things because others are doing. You are doing things because you are doing it from the place of a human being who is on a mission. You are not doing things because they are easy. You are doing them because you are on a mission. You are not doing things because there is money there. You are doing things because you are on a personal mission. You know, yesterday, I made a post yesterday, and that post has stirred a couple of reactions. I made a post yesterday and I said, I will always bet on Cameroon. I will always bet on Africa, despite the governance challenges, despite the leadership challenges, despite the political strife, despite the economic challenges. I will still bet on Cameroon. I will still bet on Africa. I will still choose Cameroon and Africa over USA, Canada, Europe, etc. I will still choose to live in Africa than go to these countries. Then somebody was many people were very surprised. And majority of the comments on Facebook and WhatsApp group that I shared, why will I do that? Some ask, are you serious, really? And some asked for a reason. And I gave them one simple reply: because it is my mission. It is my purpose. I have no other plan B. I can go to the US and Canada for business and work, but not to relocate to live there because I think I can, it's easier there, or I can succeed there. That is not enough reason for me to leave Africa or leave Cameroon. You cannot be an industry leader. You cannot disrupt an industry if you are looking for comfort. If you are looking for easy ways out, you will only disrupt an industry and become a captain if you are very clear about your values. What do you value most as a professional? This is where you go beyond being honest, going beyond being honest because your parents raised you to be honest. No, you are now honest because you have become so mature and you are so independent in your thinking, and you now understand the reason why you should be honest. You are a person of integrity, not just because your parents raised you with moral ethics or a moral code, but because you have a personal moral code, because you know why that is important for you and for the society you live in. That is how industry captains do things. You have very clear, ambitious goals. You have goals for the society. You have goals for your institution. You have goals to advance a cause in your lifetime. You are on a personal mission. You have a mission to achieve for your continent. You have a mission to achieve for your country. You have a mission to achieve because of the kind of legacy you want to leave behind. One critical thing I've also learned about industry captains is that they know what they stand for and what they believe in. What do you stand for? What do you stand for as a professional? When I studied the biography of people who have grown to be industry captains in the work they do, in music and entertainment, you see industry captains like the Beyoncés and the Jay-Z's and the Michael Jacksons. In Africa, you talk about the Davidos and the Burna Boys and so on. You read their biographies, you go to technology, talk about the Elon Musk, talk about the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs of Apple. You go to healthcare, you go to public policy, you go to all core sectors across the world. One thing is very clear about these people. They know what they stand for. They stand and represent something that is important to them. And that thing is always their personal mission. What do you stand for? If you stand only for money because you want to make money, you are not an industry captain. If you stand for things only for the sake of yourself and your stomach, you are not an industry captain. Industry captains stand for things beyond money and themselves. They stand for industries. They stand for the society. They stand for a cause. They stand for a group of people. They stand for an idea that they think will advance humanity forward. What do you stand for as a thriving industry captain? What do you stand for as somebody who is looking forward to be remembered for good 10 years after, 20 years after? What do you stand for as somebody who desires to be a well-respected thought leader in that particular industry? Because it is imperative for them, because they know what their values are and they don't deviate from these values for any reason. Industry captains don't deviate from values for any reason. Their values are non-negotiable. They stand and represent their values, especially the core values of integrity and the core values of taking responsibility to bring change in their industry. These are two key values that industry captains stand for, and they refuse to deviate from these values for any reason. Integrity and taking responsibility to advance the society or advance their industry. These are two critical values for any industry captain. So if you are somebody that you quickly go against your core values, especially that of integrity or honesty, you don't deserve to be called an industry captain. But you stand for integrity. You clearly state that anything that goes against your ethics, anything that goes against your moral code, anything that goes that will hurt another human being for you to rise, you refuse to be part of it. Anything that goes against the laws of the land or the laws of the country where you operate, or that goes against the professional ethics of the industry where you are not for it. You don't go against this particular core value of integrity for any reason. Then the core value of taking responsibility to bring change, to bring advancement, to have sleepless nights so you can bring change. You take responsibility to go the extra mile so you can bring change and advancement in an industry. You don't go against this particular core value. Then you are a thriving industry captain. It is critical to understand this, so that when you set out to win, you get to win magnanimously. You get to win in an extraordinary way. One important element about thriving industry captains is that they have the reasonable concern for the feelings and opinions of others, but they are neither hypersensitive nor preoccupied with possible disapproval or disagreement. What does that mean? It means that for you to succeed as a thriving industry captain, as a thought leader in your industry and in the work you do, you are comfortable listening to the opinions of other people. You are comfortable inviting the input and ideas from other people. You don't disregard the opinions of other people. You don't shut them out. No, no, no. You receive opinions. You receive suggestions. You receive advice from other people. But one thing is different. One thing is special for you. You don't let what people say become so hypersensitive towards you. You don't let the disapproval or the disagreement of other people to preoccupy your actions. Like you want to embark on something, somebody gives their point of view that it is not going to work. You don't let that preoccupy your mind and you get angry that somebody is shutting you out. No, they are permitted to share their opinion. But as an industry captain who masters the art of decisive thinking, who has mastered the art of independent thinking and independent actions, you go ahead and set forth to achieve what you believe is best for you and the society or the business that you are building. So industry captains invite input from others. Industry captains invite ideas from others, but they are good at making their own decisions. They go their own ways. They choose their own path after listening to everybody. They don't let the disagreement or the disapproval of other people derail them from their own path. They can only use it to make better, decisive decisions, but it doesn't stop them from advancing in the cause that they believe in. It doesn't stop them from doing what they think it is right for the industry. That is why industry captains are non-defensive people. They accept responsibility and they refuse to make excuses. This is one critical, decisive thinking and action that you must take from today. You must become the professional who accepts responsibility and you refuse to make excuses. You refuse to blame others. You refuse to justify why you didn't achieve results. You refuse to justify your laziness. You refuse to justify why you refuse to take responsibility. You are action-oriented and you are decisive in your thinking. You don't get upset because others criticized you. You don't get upset because you got disagreements from fellow colleagues. You don't get upset because you got unexpected reversals or failures. You are so driven that you strive forward. You are so driven that you are very decisive in your thinking and in your action. That is why industry captains know their strengths and their weaknesses, and they accept them. You know your greatest strength and you accept it. You know your greatest weaknesses and you accept it with the mentality to improve. That is why industry captains largely accept other people to coach, to inspire, and encourage better performance. They avoid judging and condemning others. No, they accept help. They accept to be coached. They accept to be inspired. They accept to be encouraged for better performance. They, in turn, step out of their way to coach other people to become better. They step out of their way to inspire other people to become better. They step out of their way to train and teach other people to be better. They step out of their way to encourage better performance. You cannot be an industry captain when you condemn others, when you shy away from responsibility, when you shy away from your weaknesses instead of accepting them and improving on them. It will be difficult for you to become a thriving industry leader. One important thing I want to charge you to start doing from today, which is critical in your journey in becoming a thriving industry leader in what you do, is you need to master the art of setting high standards for yourself. Yes. You need to learn how to set high standards for yourself and then learn how to discipline yourself to live up to your own standards. This is a very big separating attribute that separates industry captains from average performers. They set high standards for themselves and they discipline themselves to continually strive to live up to their own high standards. They don't go below their own high standard. It could be the standard of excellence. It could be the standard of how you treat people. It could be the standard of how you invest in yourself and build your capacity. It could be the standard of hard work. But by all means, you set standards for yourself and you discipline yourself to live up to those standards. Then that will separate you from average performance and give you the opportunity to produce results that only industry captains produce. If you're still there and you're being challenged, write that you will set standards from today. Not only standards, you will set high standards from today. Write a sentence, a statement of faith, a statement of conviction that I will set high standards for my career. I will set high standards for my business from today. Yes, yes. Yes, that is what industry captains do. They set high standards for themselves and they discipline themselves to continually strive to live up to their own standard. If there is one lesson I want you to pick out today and write that down in your journal, in your diary, is for you to write that down in your journal today. That from today, from this very moment, I will set high standards and I will discipline myself every single day to live up to those standards. Very important. It could be like the high standard of hard work, the high standard of when you wake up from bed and when you go back to bed. It could be the high standard you get up and you say, you know what? Like this is one of the standards I set for myself, except it's a situation beyond my control. Maybe I'm traveling or I'm sick. But throughout this year, the goal is 16 hours of consistent work every day or nothing less. and it's 3 a.m., I'm up already. So latest 2:45 and up. That is the standard. 3 a.m., I am doing something productive for my future. I'm doing something productive for my career. I'm doing something productive for my business. You set a high standard. You can set a high standard for your finances. You can have a standard for savings. Every month you save this amount, and you are not going to go below it. You go to the extent, you know what, I'm going to save this. If it's going to affect maybe my money for upkeep, okay, that is fine. So I need to discipline myself and work and have a side hustle that can give me money for upkeep. But you see, I have to save this amount this month. You can have a high standard for savings. You can have a high standard for studies. You know what? This year, every month, I am reading 2 books a month. So before the end of the year, I have a high standard, 24 books minimum standard for this year. This year, I am setting a high standard to take courses. I am going to take a course. As the year runs out, I'm going to take 4 courses, study these courses, and become a pro in this course, and probably get certified in these courses. Set a high standard. Set a high standard of the places you go. You don't just go to places anyhow because a friend called you. No, you have a standard. You have a high standard for yourself. You go to relevant meetings, you go to relevant events. You go on there to places that are critical, important. You don't just go anywhere. You go for family. You go to meet family. You are intentional about spending time with family and not just haphazardly spending time anyhow. You set high standards. If there is one thing that will quickly separate you from average people, it is setting high standards in core areas of your life. Even your kind of friends, set high standards for the people you call friends, or for the people you mingle around with, or for the people you talk to on WhatsApp, and some of you just talk to any Tom and Jerry anyhow. Somebody inbox you from nowhere, you didn't have a plan to talk with the person, you realize that you have been chatting with the person for 30 minutes. How do some people even comfortably just sit on WhatsApp and they chat for 30 minutes? They didn't even plan to have a 30 minutes chat. No standard at all. No standard, nothing. Above all, industry captains, thriving industry captains, set high standards for themselves, set high standards for their careers, set high standards for their businesses. And most importantly, they discipline themselves. They are so obsessed when it comes to continually living up to their own standards. And they are so disciplined that nobody is permitted to break their own standards. Nobody can influence them to live below their own standards that they have set. You start dropping, you start reducing your capacity as an industry captain when you allow yourself to live below your own standards. And worst of all, you allow others to influence you to live below your own standards. You are not a captain at all. A captain is a leader of soldiers, is a leader of disruptors. A captain is a leader when it comes to standards and producing results. When it's time for war, it is a battle. It is not a time for emotions. It is not a time for motivation. It is a time to do what is required to live up to the standards and produce the results required for that season. Simple. That is what a captain will do. So what are your standards? My challenge for you today is go and set standards in core areas of your lives. from relationships to your job sites, to your money, to your capacity building, to your studies, to all of that. Go out today and set clear standards. That is why industry captains do not compare themselves with others. Instead, they only compare themselves against themselves. They measure themselves against the very best that they can be personally. That is why industry captains outperform their yesterday's self. They outwork their yesterday's work. They outwork their yesterday's productivity. They don't settle and they're comfortable. They don't compare themselves with other people. Like you see, one sign that you're not an industry captain is you live below standard because you compare yourself with others. You're like, oh, or since others will certainly come late, and let me also go late. You are never late on time for anything because you assume that every other Capricornian will come late for that event. You are not an industry captain. Better go early and wait for others. That is what captains do. You are not getting up early to study or to go through the morning school coaching session like this because everybody in your family wakes up at 5 o'clock. You also want to wake up like them. You are not a captain. You will not separate yourself from the rest if you do that. You are not striving to be an international professional because everybody around you is a local career professional. You are just fitting into that mediocrity, into that low standard local lifestyle. You are not a captain. You are comparing yourself with the wrong standards. That's why you have to set your own standards. You are surrounding on the portrays laziness. You are surrounding on the portrays mediocrity. You are surrounding on the portrays poverty. You are surrounding on the portray local lifestyle. But you refuse to let that define you. In the midst of that kind of surrounding, you set high standards. If there's one thing that separated me while I was still in Bansop or several years back in my career, I was very good at setting standards. I was very good. I mean, people used to tell me, severally in Congo, this thing that you're doing doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can't work in a place like Bansop. Many people told me that. Because I was doing things beyond the environment. Guys, set standards. Because others are inconsistent around you doesn't mean that you should be inconsistent. Set standards that the whole of this year, as long as I am organizing morning school, you will show up, except your body is so broken. I know somebody who was in class yesterday from the sick bed and following the session. That is standards. You're still a baby if you compare yourself to others. You live your life comparing yourself to what others are doing. You are not ready to be a captain yet. And how will you do this when you don't have clear goals? A captain is an independent thinker. You've got goals for yourself and for the people that follow you. You've got very clear objectives for your career and for your business. You have your own schedule. Oh yes, you've got your own schedule. You rise up and you live life according to your own schedule. Friends don't toast you up and down. You end up drinking alcohol and getting drunk. Meanwhile, during that day, it was not in your plan to go out. As a friend just called you, oh, we are here. You carried your big head plus your yourself, and you went and you sat there for hours and you were drinking. Where did you even get the hours to spare to go do that before you were even getting drunk in the process? It's because you've got no schedule. Industry captains got schedules for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year. They live life. They get goals done at their own time and at their own pace. And in the midst of all this, industry captains realize that they are not perfect. Oh yes, they know that they are not perfect. They know that every new day is an opportunity to become better. Every new day is an opportunity to work harder and become better so you can produce better results. They are not perfect. They continually strive to improve in the important areas of their lives where they think they have weaknesses. They strive to improve every single day. You are not an industry captain if you ignore your weaknesses. You know that you are weak in this area. You don't have a plan on how you're going to improve in that area, especially if it is a weakness that has a direct influence on the quality of the result that you can produce. You need to wake up immediately and start addressing that weakness. You need to work yourself out every single day to sort out that weakness, improve that weakness, turn that weakness into a strength. If not, you will struggle to be a thriving industry captain. Now, we are going to look at this super exciting. I'm going to share with you 11 techniques, 11 practical techniques that you need to practice to become a thriving industry captain when it comes to having a decisive thinking mindset and being action-oriented as an industry captain. If you are ready to learn the 11 techniques, indicate in the chat box that you are ready. Oh yes, some people are ready. If you have not typed, I am ready, means you are sleeping. Oh yes, I'm about to share with you some 11 practical techniques. Whether you're a worker in a company, you will become different and you will so contribute to the advancement of that place where you work. And they will look at you and say, no, you see this one, we need to keep this one. This one is an asset. This one is the future of this place. You're an entrepreneur. Oh, these practical techniques will take you to another realm of dominance. You see, when it comes to being on the news and being dominant as a growing young professional in Africa and in the world, I am very good at it. I am very good at thriving, exceptionally good at it. And I'm about to make you guys some secrets, some technical things that if you start doing from today, you jot them down and you start doing, you see a lot of change. The first technique, read the thoughts of others. Read the thoughts of others. I want you to write on the chat box, read the thoughts of others. Technique number one that you need to practice on today to become an industry captain. Read the thoughts of others. What does that mean? Industry captains challenge their own views by listening to others. Industry captains challenge their own views by reading others. You read the words of others. You read the articles of others. You read the books of others. The best way that you can expose yourself to the thoughts of others is through reading or listening to what they say. There is no way you can call yourself an industry expert if you don't understand the perspective of other experts in your sector. It's difficult because you need to understand how you can challenge your own views by listening to the views of others. The only thing that can validate that you are right as an expert, the only thing that can validate that you are on the right path as an expert is for you to understand what other people also say. If possible, people who disagree with you. That is why look at the world's performing industry captains. They like to read. They like to read. They like to get the perspective of other experts. Look at the world's best football coaches. Before they go play any match, before they go for any competition, they are facing any team, they will sit down and watch the 5 last previous matches of the opposing team, and they understand how they think, how they play, how they look at things. And then they devise their own strategy on how they are going to counterattack that particular team. That is what captains should be doing. You are here and you are not comfortable buying books and reading, especially industry books. Reading what other people say about certain things is critical for you to become a thriving industry captain. For you to be decisive in your thinking and to be action-oriented, you need to understand and have access to quality thought of other professionals. The second practical technique that you need to become decisive in your thinking and in your action as a thriving industry captain is for you to become the devil's advocate and challenge your own views. Oh, yes. Industry captains they are not biased in their thinking. They are not narrow in their thinking. Because you thought about an idea, you don't just believe that your thought is the best. No, it is not. Industry captains never became, those who are industry captains already, they did not become industry captains because of their biased thinking. No, they are very good at challenging their own thoughts. That's what it means, becoming your own devil's advocate and challenging your own views. You're thinking about something, you're thinking about an idea, you ask yourself, what if the opposite was true as well? This is one thing I like to do when I have an idea. I like to think of the opposite of the idea. I try to criticize the idea and I look at the opposite side. It opens my mind to look at things from diverse perspectives, and I get to fill some gaps that I would have missed if I was only focusing only on my idea and thinking only from my perspective. What if the opposite was true as well? Leaders, industry leaders, recognize that other people's perspectives can be right also. That is why industry leaders are very good at listening to others' opinions, but they are responsible for the final decision and the action to take. They don't wait for others to push them to take actions to produce results. They listen, but they are decisive in their actions. So learn how to challenge. Your best decisions, your best ideas will come from the place of also opposing your ideas, challenging your own views, and becoming your own devil's advocate. You will get to see the idea from different angles before you start implementing. Number 3, which is very critical. A very critical technique when it comes to becoming a thriving industry captain Interact with people who are different than you. Interact with people who are different from you. Interact with people who are different from you. What does that mean? For you to become a thriving industry captain, you need to be very good at interacting with people who are different from you. Put yourself out there. Interact with people who may not hold the same views as you. Consider engaging with people from different race and ethnicity. Consider engaging with people with different political affiliation. Consider engaging with people from different socioeconomic level. Consider engaging with people from different religious backgrounds. It will so help you to understand the diversity of your industry, to understand how they look at things based on their upbringing, based on their views, either based on how they say when women look at things. So if you don't get engaged with how women think and look at things, you will miss out on a lot of things. And good industry captains are not novice in certain things. You engage with people from different religious backgrounds. You freely do that. There was a time I took and I was watching a series of documentaries on the relationship that exists between Christianity and Islam, Christianity and Hinduism, Islam and Buddhism. I watch all of these videos to understand the similarities that exist between these religions and the differences that exist. It helped me so much to understand how Muslims think in a particular direction. Also, my closer good friends are Muslims. And I got to learn a lot about how they look at things. And if I go now to Saudi Arabia, I go now to Dubai to do business or to work with them, it became so easy for me. An industry captain knows how to work with different people. You cannot claim to be an industry captain when you don't know how to interact with people who are different from you. You are not. You want to work only with Christians from your denomination and all of that. You are not a captain. You're a boy, you're a quarter boy. You don't deserve to be given any respect as a leader in your industry because you are not even a leader anywhere, because you're just in a small circle, in a small setting. Good industry captains, their work transcends the community, cut across any human being who is living and alive. Their work transcends all religions. Their work transcends all tribes. That is critical for you becoming a thriving industry captain. So from today, go the extra mile to interact with different people and know how they think. Number four, the fourth technique you need to be decisive in your thinking and to be action-oriented as far as becoming an industry captain is concerned is do your best to interact with people of all ages and walks of life. Oh, yes. Do your best. I'm saying do your best because it can be challenging to talk with all the old people around you. But do your best to interact with people of all ages and walks of life. What do I mean? Know how people who have gone ahead of you, how they think. Know how people are coming after you, how they look at things. Know how people within your age group, how they look at things. For example, I like to talk for a couple of years now, or a couple of months. I have been talking to much elderly people to understand how life was like in their time when there was no social media, when there was no internet totally. And I try to ask them, when they compare now and how they grew up. What is the difference? I like to know that. There is no way you can become an industry captain. You don't know where your industry is coming from. You don't know where your industry is right now, and you don't know where the industry is going to. Let me tell you, those your siblings who are younger than you, they are the future of the industry. So talking to them to understand how they look at things, to understand how they like things to be, it is important for you to become an industry captain. Trying to mingle around your age group and your fellow colleagues in the same industry or different industries, but in the same age group, helps you to understand where you are right now. You cannot claim to be there are some of you don't even know where Africa is coming from. If I ask some of you to give me some certain elements, some certain challenges that your industry, where you claim to be a professional, the challenges of that industry 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you cannot give me. If I ask you to give me the difference that exists between your industry 20 years ago and your industry at the moment, you cannot tell me, but you desire to be an industry professional. How is that possible? How do you want to bring change to an industry you don't understand how it used to work, how it works presently, and how it possibly may look like tomorrow? And what is the best way to do that than to interact with people of all ages? Interact with people who are older than you. They have been there before you. Interact with their fellow colleagues and age group people at the moment. Interact with guys who are 5 years, 10 years younger than you. They'll tell you their expectations of the future. Look at what they like and dislike. It will greatly help you. For example, I like to observe my daughter a lot. When I meet with my daughter, the first thing she wants to take is my phone, and she wants to play a game. So there's a phone she doesn't touch. So there's another phone that I have, which she has access to. So she always takes that phone, and she'll be looking at certain things and opening certain videos. She's very curious about it. So there's one thing I know about that generation, is that it's a curious generation. And they're not curious just about anything. They are curious about technology. My daughter has never asked me, Daddy, what did you bring for me? We are not curious about food like many of us. We are growing up. When our parents is coming back, we're looking at what did mommy bring, what did daddy bring on the stomach. We are curious on how to feed our stomach. Basically, she's curious about mobile technology. She's curious about mobile apps. She's curious about how certain things work in technology. So if anybody building a company of the future and you don't have mobile technology embedded in your business model, that generation may not like your business. They may not buy from you. They may not patronize you because they will not have your time. That is where certain industries are going to. So for you to be an industry captain who is exposed to diverse thinking and who wants to be decisive when it comes to thinking, because you cannot be decisive in your thinking when you are not good at having enough information or you are not exposed to relevant, diverse information. You cannot be decisive in your thinking when your thinking is narrow, or you have only one, you are so narrow in their thinking, you have only one form of information. That is not decisive thinking, that is narrow thinking. And narrow thinking never produces incredible results. Number five, the fifth technique that you need to practice from today to become a thriving industry captain is for you to schedule thinking and writing time. Write in the chat box, I will schedule my thinking and writing time. I will schedule my thinking and writing time. Write in the chat box. I will schedule my thinking and writing time. Oh yes, industry leaders schedule thinking and writing time. Let me ask you guys in this community right now, since this year started, who has separated 2 hours a month just to sit somewhere and think about the industry, anticipate what may or may not happen? And you are thinking with a pen and a paper. If you have done that this year, indicate in the chat box if you sincerely did that. Your phone was not there. You are not being distracted. You are sitting somewhere quiet. You just had a plain paper. You are not reading, just a plain paper. Just you, your pen, your mind, and a plain paper. And you're thinking about where the future is going to. You're thinking about that, your business. You're thinking about that, your career. You're thinking about that, your industry. And then you're taking down notes, what your brain is giving you. Who has done that this year? This is what separates industry captains of average performers. Many people here just wake up and they're operating. They are just operating in the day, in the night, just operating, haphazardly just operating. I'm not sure many of you have already sat down and you have looked at your industry 5 minutes ahead of you, 2 days ahead of you, but you want to be an industry captain. How about? Industry captains are not just bulldozers. They are strategic thinkers. And they don't just think. I'm not talking about just sitting and then you sleep off that you are thinking. No, you are actively thinking. There are no distractions. You drop down everything. You drop down, you drop down your phone, you drop down whatever can distract you. You go somewhere quiet. You deliberately, intentionally sit down with a plain book in front of you, with a plain page in front of you. You look at your business and you think about the future of that business. You look at your career, you think about the career of that business. And in this particular moment, whatever your mind is giving you, be writing it down. Don't bother that to be. Sometimes I think aloud. I put my phone on record and I'm just saying the things that are coming in my spirit. I am just saying the things that I see. Guys, don't see one of the biggest creation on the surface of the earth. One of God's most incredible creations is your mind. But if you don't utilize it, I keep telling you guys, your mind is like a tool. The more you use it, the more it becomes efficient. It's like wine. The more it grows older, and the more you use it as it grows older, the more efficient it becomes. Use it. Give your mind was created to think. Give it a job to think. Many of you have businesses. You're not just sat down like that. Just look at the business. Just you, your brain, and the business. Sometimes what I do is that I leave the house. I go into a hotel for a night or for the day. I just carry my bag. I just go to a hotel for the day and night. And I just sit there and I'm just thinking. You know, you think better in certain places. Just the beauty of the place, the way it's structured. As I was telling one of my friends, anytime I sleep in a 5-star hotel, I have very good ideas. I write very good ideas, right? So, you know, there's a way the environment must be cozy, nice to encourage you to think. Sometimes I just leave and I go to a hotel, I pay a night 50,000, 75,000 francs, just nice, cozy, classic, exclusive place, not the familiar environment. I leave my house, I leave my office, I go sit there. The laptop is not on, my phones are off, I'm not online, and I am strategically thinking of it could be the future of Cosdev Group as a company. It could be the future of Africa in certain industries as a consultant. It could be the future of certain things. Maybe it's a contract I'm working on for a company. I think about the future of that company. I analyze it. I take down notes. And you only become effective at this if you have also been feeding your brain. You cannot take a useless brain that has nothing inside and you want to think. A good brain thinks by connecting data, by connecting info. You see why it's good to build capacity and read in one of the points we spoke about? Because you cannot do point number 5. When you don't have data, your brain, you are not been feeding your brain. Your brain has nothing that makes sense. Your brain only has the types of shoes and wigs and dresses to wear. You only think about the friends you have been gossiping about. You only think about some memes you have been posting on your status. You don't think about anything that makes sense. So you're not even feeding your brains with anything that makes sense. So you can even create thinking time because your brain will have very limited data to think about. You want to think about an industry when you have not been reading newspapers and business magazines about that industry? What would you think about then? You need to feed your brain before it can think. You see the challenge? That's why some of you don't have quality thoughts because your brain doesn't have quality data or information to think about. Like the whole of this month, the whole of last month and this month, some of you have not read even a book. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be very, very ashamed of yourself. So if you are here, you have not read one single book, or since this yesterday, this is the 4th month, if you have not read at least 3 books so far, completed them, read practically, actively taking down summaries and notes, this 0.5 is useless for you. What do you want your mind to think about? Are you a magician? Are you a native doctor? They want to conjure things from nowhere and they start happening, which are fake anyway. The quality of your thoughts and thinking comes from the quality of data and information that your brain has. Some of us need to wake up. If you need to repent from what I'm saying right now, write "I repent" in the chat box. Let me see. Don't be ashamed. If you're ashamed, I don't write. I will prophesy and I'll call your name. Some of you want to compete against people. You don't know the quality of their thinking. There are some people you cannot beat me in the work I do. I know that. First of all, you need to beat me for my hard work from the time I put in the work I do. Number 2, you need to beat me when it comes to the quality of information my head has. Then number 3, you need to beat me in the quality of my thinking. Before you are coming in the physical, I've gone ahead. So you admire, I want to be like Mr. Job, but I'm giving you now these things. Go and do something with it. Some of you are too comfortable, very comfortable. When you want VIP lifestyle, I keep telling you guys, you are a senior witch. You have a PhD in witchcraft. If you desire a VIP lifestyle, I am not putting in the work. The difference from you and a witch flying in the night, like you have not started flying. And maybe if they give you time, you start flying. Guys, you've got to wake up. You've got to rise. You've got to rise up. So for you to practice point number 5, you need to feed your most important asset. Technique number 6. Oh man, I love this. Technique number 6. Technique number 6 is what I call IBC projects. Process, not project. IBC process. IBC process. For you to be an industry captain who produces incredible results and is decisive in thinking and so action-oriented, that he or she produces incredible results, you need to practice what I like to call the IBC process. The I means that you need to be very good at identifying core assumptions. In every industry, every professional has core assumptions. Every individual has core assumptions. There is no way you can be an industry captain if you don't know how to identify core assumptions. You are talking with somebody, you try to ascertain what are the general assumptions that this person has. There are some people, when they see you, they just assume things about you. Me, I'm very good at that. I'm very good at anticipating what others assume about me. So it doesn't disturb me again. And I know how to give them what would just shut their mouth out. It's very good, especially when it comes to sales and negotiation. Let me give you something that happened. When I had the private launch with the ambassador, there were about 4 other entrepreneurs there too. So the ambassador, while they were talking now, they talked about what the work that they do and all of that. So it was my turn to talk about the work I do. Now, in a situation like that, as a strategic person, I am not only, I'm very conscious that what I need to say, I don't only need to, one, get the attention of the ambassador, I need to make sure I get the attention of the other 4 guys. Since I didn't know them, we didn't know ourselves. So one of the best ways to get relevant connections is to make sure you say the right things that will influence people. So that they will be the ones coming to you now to connect, not you struggling to connect with them. So I already now, and in that setting, I was the youngest and the smallest, of course. So people normally should have assumptions already. Oh, like they're okay, who is this? What does it do? They're trying to assume things about me already and all of that. And then boom, I initiated my discussion when I talked with the ambassador, and he asked a couple of questions. One, he wanted others to hear. Since the ambassador already knew me, I read about my profile, though we have never met. They wanted to know further about the work we do. So I started talking. When I was done, I actually noticed, because there were the staff and the bodyguards the other way and all of that. So when I was done, one of the ladies came to me and said, "What? You're so good at presenting yourself that when you started talking, all of us turned our necks and were looking at you." That was what the lady commented. Now, what am I trying to say? It was not just a coincidence. I made sure that I identified their core assumptions. And I made sure that the way I am going to structure my words, it is going to hit them hard on those assumptions. It is the same with customers. A customer is approaching you for a service, always try to anticipate their assumptions and have responses ready to hit their assumptions on the head. That's how when you sell, you're gone. You always make sales. I always say something funny. If you're trying to close a deal with me and you give me the opportunity to talk with you, I will close that deal. Because I will hit the things I will say will hit you on the, if I just talk with you and I know a few things about you, I will know your core assumptions and I will hit you from the right place and you buy it. You hire me to work with you. So that's the I, the first I. The I stands for what? Be very good at identifying the core assumptions with the people, with the industry leaders, with customers, whoever is a critical stakeholder in what you do. And when you identify the assumptions, don't speak in a way that you are so certain. No, also speak in a strategic way, because you can also be wrong in identifying the assumptions. But when you have enough information, there are some general assumptions that you cannot get wrong. There are some general assumptions that you cannot get wrong. Okay? The B part, the B in the IBC process means learn to break the problem down into parts. Yes, Industry captains are good at solving problems. And one of the best ways to solve problems is to break down problems into parts. You're going through problems right now. The best way to be a decisive thinker and to be action-oriented in the midst of problems as an industry captain is to learn how to break down the problems. Don't try to solve problems in a whole. No, break it down so you understand the intricacies that makes up the problem. You understand all the moving parts that make up the problem. It makes it easier for you to solve the problem effectively and produce results for your career and your business. Break down the problem. Let's say, for example, your problem is that you're always broke. You're always having shortage of money. I was talking with a young lady yesterday, and she raised a couple of things. I said, the way you think will be responsible. You have a lot of problems, and one of them will be money problems. And she said, yes, that every month she's always struggling to pay her rent. She has never had enough. She has never done everything and have enough, like more than 10,000 francs just spare that she doesn't know what to do with it. That's a very big problem that many people need to know how to break it down into parts and understand. If you are here like that, you have a lot of work to do. You have never had enough. Enough doesn't mean that you have millions. Enough could mean that you are able to sort out your bills and you have some money left that you can do whatever you want with it and you will not be worried. But there are some of you that if you spend 10,000 francs only from your monthly income, you will struggle to live for the next 1 month. It will affect certain key things in your basic living. That's a problem. So you can take that and break it down. Okay, this is my problem. I have financial issues every month. I am never having enough to pay my bills. That is a problem. Okay, start breaking it down. What are you not getting right? Start breaking it down. Okay, start looking at what are the things that enable somebody to make money. Then you look at your life. Start writing it down. Break down that problem. You'll see where you can start small to improve your financial life. Oh, you will notice that, maybe I'm always broke because I don't have a skill. I don't have a relevant skill. I only know how to make money one way. Let's say, for example, you're a teacher. You only make money from your salary you get to teach and they pay you. Okay, you don't have the skill. You have only the teaching skill, which is limited only to your school. That's why you're always broke. So you don't have any other productive or high income skill. You break it down and you keep. Another reason is you don't have people in your circle that inspire you and open you up to new ideas, new knowledge, and new opportunities. So you're using only your small knowledge, your knowledge, teaching knowledge to try to survive. You don't know many, like there are many of you here that you got exposed to many things because you joined PPA. You got exposed to certain things on the internet, certain things in life in general, how to run a business, build a career, certain concepts, certain opportunities I share on the WhatsApp group and all of that, because you are in PPA. So you know what? I am broke because my circle is not relevant, is full of funny people. So we all are struggling. Okay, that is a problem. You're not out. Or you know what? You're broke because you have limited certifications. You have just how do they call this teaching certificate again? You have only grade 1 certificate, the certificate program. You're a grade 1 teacher. You can only teach in nursery 1 or primary school. You cannot teach beyond that. Okay, maybe that's a challenge. That's a challenge that's hampering your finance. You look at that. Maybe you discover that you are ashamed of people, you have low self-esteem, and you don't know how to sell. You don't have any selling skills. You can't even sell your after-school program or your holiday school program because you have low self-esteem, you're ashamed to sell, you're ashamed to go out there and talk to people. It affects your money life. You see, you break it down like this. You break down the problems into parts. You start seeing where you're messing up, and you start taking actions to rise up to sort out your life. Industry captains are good at breaking problems into different moving parts. And the S stands for, the C, sorry, stands for creation. Creating new processes towards a clearly defined goals. Oh, yes. For you to be an industry captain, you need to be good at creating new processes. You cannot be an industry captain and you are just good at copying and pasting. You are just existing. You don't change anything new in your life. Month after month, you don't create any new process. You don't disrupt your patterns. You don't disrupt your routine. You don't create new things for yourself in your career. How can you become a captain when you cannot create? Industry leaders are good at conceptualizing and creating new things, creating new projects, new initiatives, new products, new services. They find ways to create things that can add more value to their lives and the work that they do. What are you creating as an industry leader? What are you creating as a professional? What are you creating that will help you achieve that goal, that ambition that you have for yourself and for your business? So from today, start practicing the IBC process. Learn to identify core assumptions. Learn to break down any problem you have into different moving parts and elements and start solving them from there. Learn to create. Industry leaders are creators. Learn to create new processes to help you solve the problem you are going through. Learn to create initiatives. Learn to create projects. Learn to create new products and services. Learn to create new systems and policies. Always create. Industry captains create. They don't consume only. They create. Number seven technique that you need is combining things together that don't normally go together to see the outcome. Combining things together that normally don't go together to see the outcome. Yes, the aim here is to push yourself beyond your comfort zone of thinking. The aim here is to expose yourself to new patterns of doing things. The aim here is for you to challenge your mind. Like, for example, just think of how does it feel like to eat water fufu and achu soup? What does it feel like to mix njama, achu soup, and then eat with gari? These are things that in our normal culture, in our normal food culture, they don't go together. But you can decide and combine things that normally, on a normal circumstances, people don't assume that they can go together, or people agree that they cannot go together. But you try to combine them and see the outcome. The outcome can even lead to a new project. It can lead to a new product. It can lead to something. But even if it cannot lead to something worthwhile, number one, you have challenged your thinking into a new dimension. You have exposed yourself to new information, to new patterns, to new ways of doing things. And that advances your chances of success in life. As I keep teaching you guys, you will never make money above the quality of your thinking. And if you don't stretch your mind like this, you will never see new things. Now look at your career. Look at the work you do. What are the things that you can try to combine to see the outcome? As a way of stimulating more critical thinking, you need to get a bunch of items, a bunch of ideas that people think they cannot go together, or people have ascertained that they cannot work together. Put them together and ask a general question. Why don't these items or ideas go together? Then seek for ways that you can combine and make them work together. Try to combine stuff. Try to combine things. So the best events we have been able to organize is a result of combination. combining ideas, bringing them. Ideas people thought it is not possible, you bring them together and boom, you see it being an innovative idea that people can use. I have taught you guys about the fluency of ideas with technology. Fluency of ideas with technology is the ability to combine basic things that you know, combine it with technology and create something new for it. Like, for example, combining business knowledge with a WhatsApp group and forming a product that people can pay. For example, combining my knowledge and a WhatsApp group and forming something called Peak Performance Academy, which operates online. People pay a yearly fee to be part of it. That is fluency of ideas with technology. For example, combining PowerPoint presentation and combining the Zoom platform, combining other technologies, and I'm able to make courses, teaching them live, and then selling them after, and people are buying, and they're still being transformed. That is the power of practicing this. You cannot be an industry captain if you are not good at combining things from different areas and trying to form new ideas, new initiatives, new products, or new services. Combine something this way. It must not work, remember, but it should stretch you forward. It should challenge your thinking. It should expose you to new perspective and new ways of doing things. It should open up to things that cannot work so that you can get closer to things that can work. But from today, learn how to combine ideas or things together that don't normally work and see the outcome. Don't join the public to agree that it cannot go. Yes, they have ascertained it cannot go, but still try to combine it with other things and see the outcome for yourself. The question I have for you is, what will you combine today? What will you combine today? All right. If you are getting me right, operation combination activated. Right in the chat box, operation combination activated. Operation combination activated. Awesome. Go and combine something that will lead to something that you don't even understand, but your brain will never be the same. All right, let's look at point number 8 on the practical ways to becoming an industry captain through decisive thinking and action. Pros and cons. Advantages and disadvantages. That's point number 8. Look at the pros and cons. Look at the advantages and disadvantages. What does that mean? You know, if you're embarking on something, if you're embarking on a project, you're embarking on a new idea, many people are tempted, many professionals are tempted to think over the options in their heads, which is draining, time-consuming, and not effective. So one of the things I encourage you to do is, when you're about to embark on a new project or a new idea, get a paper, draw a line, draw a T account, accountant will call it a T account. On the left, write the pros. On the right, write the cons. Or on the left, write the cons. On the right, write the pros. On the left, write disadvantages. On the right, write advantages. Then sit down with a clear mind in a quiet place and begin to put your thoughts on paper. Begin to unclog your mind and increase your clarity when it comes to making that particular choice. And what is the better way to increase your clarity and make a better choice regarding that idea, that project, or that initiative as an industry expert, what is a better way than writing out the advantages of that idea and the disadvantages of that idea? When you are done doing that, it is time to make a decisive decision based on your outcome. And of course, it is generally said that if the advantages are more than the disadvantages, get straight to work. But it is also said that you can see just a slim chance. 80% are disadvantages, 20% are advantages. As the entrepreneur within you can decide to still go for it, take the risk. There are some things in this life you would never achieve if everything looks right, if everything has only advantages. There are some things you will only achieve in this life with just a slim chance. If there is only a 5% slim chance that it can work, and you are so determined, so committed and convicted, take it, execute it, go ahead, take on that 5% chance and make it work. That's the meaning of pros and cons. So dear professionals, that idea, that project, that initiative, you've been wondering how to do it, how to go about it. Use the pros and cons technique. Sit down for an hour, for 2 hours, break it down. List out the practical advantages, list out the practical disadvantages. And after you do that, make a firm, decisive decision and get to work. Number 8, get expert advice. Oh yes, industry captains get advice. Talk to a coach, talk to a consultant, talk to a mentor, get expert advice. But remember, when you get the advice, it is your responsibility to be decisive in your thinking and in your action. Like I told the mentees the other time, I said, I can only show them the way, but I cannot walk through the door for them. I will teach them, I will share my experiences, I will respond to them when they show up, but that's the best I can do. I cannot walk for them. I will advise them, I will teach them the advantages of waking up early and building yourself and investing in yourself. But I will not be in their house to wake them up from bed. It is their job to wake up from that bed. I will do my best to indulge them. And one of the most highest of the people I can quickly recommend and call somebody for, make a phone call for them for their sake are the mentees. Of course, many of them know that they have that access. But if you are not working on yourself and growing up to deserve an endorsement from me, I would never do that. I cannot risk my brand name or my name for somebody I don't trust or don't have credibility over, or they will do the job well. You see, I can just do my best, but you've got to work. You've got to take the actions. You've got to be decisive in your thinking. You've got to listen if you want to listen. Expert advice is important for thriving industry captains. Before making big decisions, such as career changing, such as business investment, it is wise to seek expert advice. It is wise to seek better advice. Number 10, analyze your fears. Oh yes, industry captains are very good at conquering their fears. And one of the best ways that industry captains get to conquer their fears is by analyzing their fears. And how do they do that? You start by listing the list of your fears. List out your fears. And then start analyzing your fears. And there are some questions I always use, which I would recommend you to start using from today to analyze your fears. Let's say, for example, some of you have been thinking of, you feel that if you leave the family house, You will have more control of your time. You get to focus on the things you want to do, which many people don't get to understand your family house. You're afraid to leave. Okay, that's a fear. Write it down. Fear of leaving the family house. Or you have, some of you are like in Bamenda, Boya, Limbe, or in semi-urban area, and you are thinking, should I move to Douala? Should I move to Yaoundé? Should I relocate to Dubai? Should I move to Lagos? Should I move to Nairobi? Should I go to Kenya? But you're afraid if you should move or not. Okay, list it out. Fear of relocating from the village or rural area to the city or out of the country. Write it down. Then analyze the fears with the following questions. Take the questions down. It will help you a lot as industry captains, because as long as you're a human being, you will have me. I have fears on new projects. But one of the best ways I conquer the fears is by analyzing every fear, making it bare, making it naked, making sure the best way to make sure fear doesn't have power over your life is to analyze it, break it down, useless the fear, expose the fear out there. And how do you do that? By asking the following questions. The first question is, what will it cost me emotionally, physically, and financially if I don't move forward with this idea? We ask ourselves that they provide an answer. What will it cost me emotionally, physically, and financially if I don't move forward with the idea? You write it down. Okay, emotionally, it will cost me the following. They will keep abusing me. They will keep disrespecting me. They will not have respect for my ideas and my business. They will not, you write it down. Financially, write it down. You know what? I cannot make more money because I cannot do what I want to do freely. I cannot freely go out for meetings and events. You begin to write down what it will cost you emotionally, physically, financially, if you don't move with that idea. The next question to ask, write it down. What would I do if my worst fear did materialize? For example, you have fear to leave the house because you thought that, you will not be able to afford house rent consistently. Okay, what will you do if you actually go leave and you rent, and then rent expires and you cannot pay your rent again? That's your worst fear. It finally materialized. What will you do? Okay, plan B, go back to the house. Go back to the family house. Whatever they say, that's their problem. You know that you're an entrepreneur and you get to face challenges. Your failures are not your identity. They are just part of your journey. Number two, you can go and squat with friends until you get back on your feet. You see, number three, you push yourself to work very, very hard so that you can get back your rent and repay. But what actions will you take if the worst fear finally materializes? The next question you need to ask, what steps could you take to reduce the likelihood of this fear materializing? What steps could you take to reduce the likelihood of this fear materializing? Let's go to the fear of leaving the family house because you're afraid you're not able to pay the house rent when it expires. Okay, maybe you need to look for a side hustle. Maybe go into buying and selling something online and doing deliveries so they can increase your income. Number two, maybe you can get a part-time teaching job or start an online teaching class and teach people who are preparing for degree or HND examinations and let them pay you $1,000 for an hour, $2,000 for an hour, whatever. You see, your mind starts giving you different ideas on how to set out and reduce the likelihood of that fear. When you do this, fear totally has no power over you. You will conquer it, you will set out, and you will win. So whatever has been holding you back as fear, I challenge you, go and naked that fear, break it down with these questions, analyze your fear,
and set out. Industry captains do not allow fear to control them. They control fear. They eat fear for breakfast through analysis. Number 11, practical way or practical technique that you need to practice as an industry captain. Take back your power. Point number 11, take back your power. Somebody should write in the chat box, I am taking back my power today. Write it down quickly, write it down. I am taking back my power today. I am taking back my power today. Write it down. I am taking back my power today. One of the critical things that makes a thriving industry captain is that they have their power. They owned their power. One of the major factors of being independent and thriving as an industry captain is for you to be free from the control of others. That's the meaning of taking back your power. Be free from the control of others. Be free from the opinions of others. Liberate yourself from being afraid of what will people say. If you are still afraid of embarking on something because of what people will say, you have given them your power. You don't own your power. Take back your power from today. Be independent from the control of others. There are some of you, you are matured, you are old enough, but you are still being controlled by your family left and right. You cannot even operate on the career you want. Last month, they want you to write concours. This month, they want you to travel abroad. The other month, they want you to get married. They're just confusing you. You don't have power over your own life. Time to take back your power. Learn to rely less on others to do things for you. As I wrote something the other day, if you are 22 and above, there are certain things you stop going back to your parents for. Stop being a burden to them with certain things. Learn to rely less on others to do things for you. That's one of the best ways to take back your power. When somebody who feeds you will control you. Take care of you. Make decisions for you. Make firm decisions for you. Make firm decisions for your career. Take charge of your life. Take responsibility for your future. The more you lean on others for approval, the harder it is for you to succeed and to become independent. You cannot call yourself a captain when you lean on others for everything. You don't think for yourself, others think for you. You cannot motivate yourself to take the necessary actions. You want others to motivate you. Something is wrong with you. It is time for you to take back your power and be free from the control of others. That is prerequisite for you to become a thriving industry captain. My charge for you is realize today that you are not perfect, but realize that you can become an industry captain who is a disruptor as long as you refuse to give up, you refuse to fail when you make mistakes, but you keep on believing in your future possibilities. Be clear from today about your most important career values. Be clear today about your self-beliefs. Decide exactly what you believe in and what you stand for. Then make sure that everything you do is consistent with your highest values, with your highest standards, and with your innermost convictions. Let me say that again. As an industry captain, in whatever you do, if you must really thrive in that career and in that business, you must make sure from today that everything you do is consistent with your highest values, is consistent with your highest standard, is consistent with your highest mission, and most importantly, is consistent with your innermost convictions. When you do this in everything that you do, no system and no human being can stop your rising. All right, everybody, that is it for today. And I believe that through this session, I have raised incredible industry captains. Let's chit chat, get some questions, and round up.